So today is finally the day where we have to extend our visas again. Now, we didn't mention the very first time we actually extended why it was so expensive, and we didn't realise the differences in some of the visa situations because it was like our first time extending. So when we did extend first time round with our visas, we actually got the ACR cards. A lot of vloggers that come here actually opt against getting an ACR card purely because it is quite a big upfront cost. Especially for 5 people. I think it was like £600, but it enables us to be able to stay in the country for up to 3 years without having to leave. Basically what we do is we just extend our visa each time, which is the 2 months usually. That tends to be the only one on offer in the areas around where we live. I know you can get 3-year extensions, you can get 6-month extensions, but the immigration office we tend to go to only offers 2 months. So we pay every 2 months to extend, and that ends up being around 9,000 pesos. I will tell you the exact details of that later. But the ACR card basically means we don't have to fly in and out of the country every 2 months. Because I think for us, when we looked at the upfront cost of an ACR card versus the costs of constantly flying in and out of the country, actually it ends up being like so much more expensive to fly in and out every 2 months, especially for 5 people. Obviously if you're on your own, or you pay for yourself in a group, then it makes more sense to be able to see more countries, to go more places. But dragging the kids in and out of the Philippines every 2 months just seemed like a really bad idea. Whilst we do have plans in the future to be able to actually visit other countries, which would be amazing, we are in a prime place to be able to fly in and out of Manila, to be able to see other places. That would be great. That's definitely in the future, hopefully. But in the meantime, we are staying in the Philippines. We want to not have to keep paying to fly in and out, because that would suck up a lot of our budget and take it away from actually seeing places in the Philippines that we really want to go to. So that is why our very first visa extension was so astronomically high. A lot of you said that it seemed so ridiculous that we were paying that much, but that is the reason why. I wasn't clear enough in that very first video. So yeah. We have to go and extend, and we usually tend to go to the Circuit Mall in Makati. I know SM Aura in BGC also offers extensions, and I believe they offer like bigger extensions, because I think somebody went there the other day and got 3 years. But we tend to stay in Makati. Another thing that's weird about visa extensions here in the country that some foreigners may not know if you've never been is every place is different and they're priced differently. We have heard some like astronomical prices, and we have heard some dirt cheap prices. It really depends on the immigration office you're going to. No immigration office is the same, which can be a little bit frustrating, because to me it should be like a flat rate no matter where you go. I don't know why it differs, and I don't know whether that's changing soon or whether it's going to remain the same. But just a little bit of advice for anybody that's coming into the country that doesn't know about that kind of thing. Just be aware that that can happen. So we have to go and head off and do that now. I think we're still within quite a few days of our extension. We don't tend to leave it to the wire. We kind of go a week before, just to make sure it's all done. You can pay for a fast tracking service as well, and I think that's a few more pesos per person. We did that the very first time we extended it as well, so that's what made it even more expensive, because we were a little bit nervous about leaving our passports for a long period of time. But the second time we extended, and this time we're extending, we're going to just leave the passports there and pick them up in a couple of days. It's actually a really relatively simple process to extend here in the Philippines. You just go to the nearest immigration office, fill in the form per person. So I have to fill out 5 forms, which can be a bit stressful. Give them all your details and pay their fee, and then you're done. It usually takes us a good hour, because as I said, there are 5 of us to check, to go through all the details, and I've got to write them all down. It takes quite a while, but we're usually there an hour, and it's relatively simple, and everybody's really friendly and quite helpful if there are any issues. So we're going to head to the Circuit Mall now and go and extend.
I was going somewhere today. A little guy. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have any good advice when it comes to having to extend every 2 months without an ACR card. So if you want information or advice about that, we don't have that because we haven't done it. but there are a couple of things that you do need to know when you do go to an immigration office. And the first thing is women and men have to wear appropriate clothing attire. I went in a strappy dress last time and I had to sit outside, I wasn't allowed in. So I've got my shoulders covered, I'm wearing more appropriate clothing for the immigration office, but that's just another fact to kind of factor in, that you have to dress appropriately. And another important factor to say is that you actually need the receipts from the last time you extended. They used to, I think, stamp the passports with the date, but they don't do that anymore. So you really do need those receipts from extensions previously with you, as well as passports. That is very important. So we're here at the Circuit Mall and we just have to go right up to the absolute top floor. That is where the Immigration Bureau is hidden. It's quite simple to get to, so we're just going to make our way up. So as I said earlier, it's a very relatively simple process. You fill out your forms, you hand them in with your passports, you wait to be checked. They take your passports for a couple of days and then you go and pick it up. I obviously won't be able to film in the Bureau of Immigration because for obvious reasons. So I'm going to have to turn the camera off now because we're just coming up to it. And we'll meet you back after the process is finished and I can kind of go through like the costs and how much it was and everything like that. So I'll see you hopefully in an hour. So we're finally out of immigration. It took about an hour and a half, but that was mainly because it was very, very busy today. Today's a Monday, so I guess Mondays are just a busy day. Usually when we go in, it's dead. But today it was just really busy. But this time we had to pay a bit extra, actually quite a bit extra than we did last time. Last time was $9,000 for all of us. This time around it was like $17,000 for all of us, and that was because we had to pay the CRT, which happens when you hit 6 months in the Philippines. We haven't hit 6 months yet, but our extension goes to 6 months. So you have to pay this CRTV for that point in your visa stage. And after that, you don't have to pay it again. It's very confusing and there's not a lot of information about it, but we ended up paying almost double what we paid last time. So it's 1,400 pesos more this time per person. Yeah. I would have liked a little bit more information about it, but it turns out it's quite difficult to work this whole visa thing out in the Philippines. It's not the easiest thing to get information on or find information on, but it's what it is. And next time she said it will go back down to the 9,000 for 2 months for 5 people. So, and this won't happen again, but it's a 6-month thing. Yeah, that's pretty much all the info I can give you right now, but we're gonna go to the supermarket quickly and then head back home. But first we're just gonna pop into one of my favorite bookshops, secondhand bookshops actually in the Philippines, which is Biblio. There's always so many books to look at. It's like a huge library, like a cave of treasure. I'm definitely getting into my reading this year, hopefully reading a lot more. But Biblio is definitely one of my favourite places to go to. And there's quite a few in the city, but the one in the Circuit Mall just happens to be the closest and one of the biggest actual ones, because there are some that are around that are actually more like pop-up shops. But this is a really good one to go to if you're ever in the area. We're all done in the Circuit Mall. We ended up skipping Shopwise after Biblio. We're all done. Visas are done. We've got dinner planned tonight, and yeah, we're going to be heading home in a sec.
So we just got home from Circuit and we just want to know what the meaning behind the CRTV. So it's an immigration thing, and my understanding, or what it says online, any alien so foreigner, who is 14 years or more, who is admitted into the Philippines as a visitor, temporary visitor on a 9A visa, and will stay in the Philippines for more than 6 months, has to pay this. So that's why we've done. So that's a brief understanding of it. Again, I've been trying to read through the rules on it or the information, but still couldn't really understand it fully. But when I spoke to the lady at the counter, she said it's a one-off payment, so we don't have to worry about this again, and all of our visa payments will be a lot cheaper next time around. So fingers crossed it won't be as expensive as this was this time around.
So I know this is a little bit more of a formal kind of informational video, which we don't tend to put out very often because, to be really honest, we're not great at information, but it is part of living in the Philippines. Being here in the Philippines means you have to extend your visa, and parts of that can be really tricky and a little bit demanding and honestly quite taxing. Visa day, even though it takes like an hour, it can be quite, I always find like I'm exhausted afterwards because it's such a kind of, you've got to get everything right, you've got to make sure all the info's done, and then you've kind of got to get it all sorted. And because there's 5 of us, it just takes that little bit longer. But it's all done. We are extended until March, which is amazing, and hopefully we'll see from then. Hopefully we can extend again. We may try and find a visa office that you could extend a little bit longer rather than just 2 months at a time. Obviously that costs a little bit more, but the lady assured us that this time round, when we extend again, it will be back down to like the 9,000 peso kind of borderline, which is around 1,800 each, which is what we did the second time we extended. It's just a bit frustrating. I think things here like that can be quite annoying for tourists and quite difficult to get our head around. I think if there was more of like kind of better information out there to be able to kind of guide you on how to do this, and also what's expected of you during kind of a few months of period of time, like this 6 months certificate we had no idea about, but now it's done and the information's out there. Hopefully this helps somebody out there that may be going through the same sort of situation. I love visa day and I hate visa day. It can be stressful, but it can also be really nice to know that it's all done for another couple of months and we're all finished. So yeah, I know it's a little bit of a different video from us. We will be getting back to more of our adventuring content, I promise. But it's also important to kind of show you the real life kind of behind the scenes about how it is to live here and what it takes to live here. It's very important and very interesting, I find. And these sorts of videos I also like watching because they help us because we're doing it. Yeah. I also wanted to note that we are hosting a Q&A. It will not be a live one this time around because we are a little bit nervous about setting up a live video stream. We will hopefully do one in the future, but if you want to leave a question down below in the comment section, then please do. We've had so many comments and questions that are very similar. So one's about whether the kids are going to go to school here, one's about whether we're going to stay here forever. Those sorts of questions we've had already. So if you have anything different or interesting, or you know, like a juicy question that you've always wanted to know about us, please leave them down below. We'd love to hear them. We've collected all of your questions from Instagram and our last community post. So if you've already left a question, then don't worry, we've already got those down, so you don't need to rewrite it down below. But if you haven't and you didn't know we were doing a Q&A, then please leave one below. That'd be amazing. And we're going to hopefully put that up within the next week or two. But until next time, we will see you later. This is the end of the vlog, guys, and we hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go and eat some lunch, and we will see you in the next video. Salamat po! Bye!